folks, welcome. Welcome back if you're returning. Welcome if you are new. My name is Emily and this is 108 Stitches, which is a mostly knitting video podcast that I am going to be updating with much more regularity now. If you are new here, I would definitely recommend checking out last week's episode. I shared some really fun and exciting updates, including, Norm's wiggly, including the update that I was leaving I left my job, my previous full-time job with the Seattle Mariners, and have transitioned into a new role with a local yarn store here in the Seattle area, and I'm also going to be spending a lot more time and energy on knitting and designing and producing this podcast. And so what that means for you all is that it's been 1 week and I'm back. It is Monday, what is today, April 11th, I think? Yes, Monday, April 11th. And my general plan is to record and edit the podcast on Monday, and then it'll be up for you on Tuesdays. So hopefully tomorrow, from when I'm recording this, Tuesday, you will have a new episode up on YouTube to sit and knit and listen to. And if that's what you're doing now, hello, welcome. I'm so glad that you hopped on and joined me today. I'm really excited to be here. It's been a really exciting and fun week, and I cannot wait to share with you all what my week has been like. And this is just such a fun kind of, I mean, not stressful, but just there's a lot happening in this transition time for me. This is definitely a transition time. Again, more info about that in my previous episode if you haven't watched it. But yeah, it's been really fun, and I'm excited to talk to you all about what's been going on, how that's been going, and hopefully you can tell just from my energy through the screen that I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really happy, and I'm so happy to be here, and I'm happy with how things have gone so far in my new situation. And so I'll start by sharing with you what I've been knitting on, because that's probably what you guys are here for. So we'll talk about the knitting and stuff first, and then I'll give you guys some updates on what things have been like and how things in my life have been. So first, let's start off with both what I'm wearing and finished objects. This is my Cumulus blouse, which is a pattern by Petite knit. Actually, I styled it a little differently today. So I finished it last week. When did I finish it? Shortly after I recorded. I think I finished it on Tuesday or Wednesday last week. Maybe Wednesday I finished it. And then I blocked it, and I didn't, my first day at the store was Thursday, and it wasn't dry in time for me to wear it on Thursday, but I did work as well on Saturday, and I wore it to La Mercerie, the yarn store that I work at. I wore it there on Saturday, and I didn't even think about it. I just, put it on, pair of jeans, whatever. So I wore it without the collared shirt underneath, and then this morning I was getting dressed, and I was like, it's a little chillier. I don't know how much I want my neck, chest area to be exposed. I don't mind wearing it like that. I really like that style as well, but just wanted to have a little bit more just kind of warmth and coverage, so I wanted to toss on a shirt underneath it, and I really kind of like the way that it looks styled this way. I don't know, I feel very professional, which is funny that I'm wearing it this way when I'm sitting on my couch at home, and then when I actually went to work, I wore it without the collared shirt, but I really like it this way. Anyway, let me give you all the info about the pattern if you haven't watched me talk about it before. This again is the Cumulus blouse, which is a pattern by Petite knit, and I knit it out of Explorer knits in their Suri base, which is 75% roughly Suri alpaca, 25% silk, and it is a light kind of lace fingering-ish weight yarn. It's closer to lace, I would think. It's interesting because the Suri bases are normally a little bit heavier than the mohair bases. So, I guess there's a difference there if you guys are familiar with the mohair. Is it mohair and silk? I have one here. Let me actually look at it. Yes. Mohair and silk as well. So this is a Suri alpaca and silk. And I feel like generally the Suri alpaca and silk bases are a little bit heavier than the mohair ones, but it is still, I think, technically a lace weight yarn. And I actually held it double throughout. That's what the pattern calls for as well. I think the pattern actually may call for mohair, like mohair and silk. But anyway, I knit it with that Explorer Knits yarn that I got. I got this yarn at the Rose City Yarn Crawl in Portland when I went just for a day trip up with my friends. I guess that was in February. Was it in February? And the colorway is linen, which is just a beautiful neutral. I love this color. I think it's just super, super wearable, and like you don't even have to think about what you wear this with or anything. It's just you toss it on and it goes with everything. I just really love this neutral. And I knit the smallest size, so I should have looked this up. Maybe I should look this up now. I keep saying this every time. I'm going to do a better job telling you guys all the information, but I want to give you like the ease and stuff too, although I haven't measured it. And I think my gauge was pretty close to on, but let's see. I'll pull this up. Oh, I don't have it in my projects. That is on my list of things to do today. I've acquired a lot of new yarn recently. I need to take photos of and put it on Ravelry. I also need to update my project pages. I also have a spreadsheet where I keep track of all my knits and all my yarn purchases, and I need to update all of that. So that is definitely on my list of things to do today. Okay, I don't know if I'll be able to find this quickly. I feel like I'm being super annoying right now. I'm so sorry. Whew, we just started and I already feel so chaotic. This is just my energy. This is just what you get when you come here with me. Okay. First of all, let's just say it is the pattern originally is written for mohair, or it calls for mohair. So 2 lace weight yarns held together, and it's knit at like a worsted weight gauge, so it's like pretty airy. And I knit the smallest size, which is written to have a, what? Was my gauge that off? Oh no, that's designed to fit. Okay, bust circumference. Sorry. This is supposed to have 37 3/4, so almost 38 inches is the circumference, and I have a 33-inch bust, so that if I got gauge, that would give me a 5 inches of positive ease. I think I have more than that. I think my gauge was a little bit off. I actually also went down a needle size, so I gauge swatched. Here's my swatch. I originally swatched in a US size 7, which is what the pattern calls for, and then my gauge was a little bit off, so I switched to a US size 6, and I got closer to gauge. And I actually did block my swatch, but I was okay with it being like a little bit roomier as well. So I think, yeah, I think maybe with blocking, it was just, my gauge was a little bit bigger still, so I do have more than the 5 inches of positive ease. I don't know. I mean, you can see this is where my body is. This is where the sweater is. So there's like quite a bit of positive ease here, and I haven't measured it. Maybe I'll try to, that's something I could do. So like do a better job of measuring that and put it in the notes on the Ravelry project page. Would that, I feel like that would be useful. So I'll try to do that so that you guys can see, like, if you want to knit this one and you want it to be like similar fitting to mine, then you know like how much ease you want and everything. But anyway, I'm really happy with it. This yarn feels incredible. It truly feels like a cloud. It's also super warm. Like I was wearing it the other day. It was like almost getting hot because of how warm this sweater is. So it's really nice and warm. The only thing, and this happens to me so often, only thing is the sleeves are like a touch long. I wish they were like closer to like bracelet length, you know, rather than being like when I put my arm down, it goes like past my hands a little bit. I like it a touch shorter. Like that would be good. Because I'm constantly, for sweaters and stuff, if it's like down touching my hand, I always roll it up. I don't know why. I don't like for it to be all the way down. I like it to be just above the wrist, you know? And so I think I knit it to the perfect length, and then I blocked it, and blocking it always, like, it stretches, you know, even if not a ton, it stretches a little bit. And I need to do a better job of thinking about that before I finish. I was actually thinking for my next sweater about doing, like, not putting the cuff in before I block it. So, like, do everything, knit to the length I think I want to before I put the cuff in, and then block it, and then see how long it is, and then put the cuff in, or pull back a little bit and put the cuff in, or knit a little bit longer and put the cuff in. I've been considering that because that keeps happening to me, that it's too long. Like I talked about as well. Sorry, I'm already super rambly, but hopefully you all know by now that this is what you can expect with me. But I knit my September sweater, which is another pattern by Petite knit. I knit earlier this year, and I knit it with superwash yarn, and it's full brioche, and so it just like stretched like crazy. I tried when blocking to push everything up as much as I could so that it wouldn't stretch, and it still stretched quite a bit, and I think I'm going to go back in, actually. I have that on my list of things to do, hopefully this week, is go in and pull out the bottom, take it back up, you know, maybe 4 inches or so. It's pretty long, and then put the bottom cuff back in. Just because I think I'll wear it more and I'll like it a lot more if it's the right length. So anyway, that's not even this sweater, that's something else, but this is my Cumulus blouse. I'm really happy with it. I'm hoping to take finished object photos of it soon. Maybe I'll take photos both ways with it. Maybe I could take photos today since I'm wearing it with the collared shirt underneath and also with it not underneath. And yeah, again, smallest size, US 6 needles. And this is Explorer Knits in their Suri base, and it's held double. I'm really happy with how it turned out. So that is my only finished object for the week. I have a couple of works in progress. One is the same from last week. So exciting news. Last Friday, the Almost Argyle Socks pattern went live, and thank you guys so much, everyone who like bought the pattern or like liked or shared anything on Instagram or just any of that. I feel so supported, and it's like a really good feeling to feel the community kind of come together for moments like that, and just feeling very, I don't know, supported and cared for in those moments. So thank you all, any of you that contributed, even in a very small way, liking, commenting posts, or commenting on posts, or sharing, or buying the any of that, like, just makes me feel really good. But I'm in progress of knitting my husband a pair of the Almost Argyle Socks. So sorry, I should like talk about what this is before I go right into it. This is a pattern that I designed and released last week. It is a really fun sock pattern with these 1-stitch cables that go around the sock that result in this like really fun diamond pattern. So I'll try to do it at an angle here so you can see from the sun the pattern a little bit better. But yeah, there it is. There are the diamonds. And this is also Explorer Knits yarn in her Denali sock base, which is just her standard like superwash merino nylon sock base. And it is in the colorway Nightfall. I also got this yarn on the Rose City, at the Rose City Yarn Crawl. I think I got both of them from the Explorer Knits pop-up at Naughty Lamb. And I am knitting for this one. The pattern has 2 sizes, a 60-stitch a 60-stitch size and a 72-stitch size, and this is the larger size, the 72-stitch size, and I am knitting mine on US size 0 needles, and I use the small circs. Oh, I'm losing stitches here. I use the small, like, I think they're 8 or 9 inch circular needles. These are Chow Goos. I've tried using Addie's or other small circular needle brands, and the Chow Goos are the only way to go for me. Absolutely have to do Chow Goos for the small circulars. So yeah, let's see, any other information about this that I'm missing? I did do the heel in a contrast color. This is Grenouille Lamp Black, and this is her 75-25 sock base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. She does not carry this base anymore, I don't believe. I think she switched over for her sock base, only does the 85-15, which is a very nice base as well. I find this one to be like a little bit tougher, like hard wearing, so I really do like it for socks, like heels and toes and everything, but the other base is really nice as well. And yeah, I have made some progress. Last time I shared this with you all, last week I was on the leg. I have since then finished up the leg, put the heel in, and I am in the middle of the gusset now. I think I have just a couple more rounds of decreases before I just do the foot and the toe, and then I'm done. And this is the first sock, and then I will cast on the second sock shortly after that, and then hopefully by the end of the month in office we'll have a new pair of socks. So that is my first work in progress. And my second work in progress I talked about last week that I wanted to cast on next, and I did. It is the Birch Pullover by Andrea Mowry. So Andrea Mowry is actually doing her like sweater and shawl knit along right now. I'm not really sure how to engage with that. I think she does stuff on Ravelry and also on Instagram, so maybe once I finish it I'll post it and try to find the hashtag or whatever. But it is a really fun half fisherman's rib or half brioche fisherman's rib. Those are two different things, two different thoughts that mean the same thing, synonyms I guess. Half brioche fisherman's rib is the stitch pattern here, and it is knit at a pretty small gauge. So actually, let me give you all some background here. I originally had planned, so this is sport weight yarn. The pattern calls for fingering weight yarn, and I knit a gauge swatch using a US size 4 needle, and I really liked the fabric, but I was worried it was a little bit too loose. But I really mostly just didn't want to knit on a super small gauge. I didn't want to knit this sweater on tiny needles. I think the pattern calls for US 2 needles and fingering weight yarn, and then all over half brioche sweater, which is like, feels intense. Feels intense. So I was like, okay, what if I just adjust it, and I'll use, if I like the fabric that I have with the sport weight yarn and a US size 4, I'll knit the same sweater, but I'll do a different size to adjust that. I know some people feel comfortable doing that. Some people are not as comfortable doing that, either because like the proportions are different or like they're nervous about it or whatever. I don't know if you even know what I'm talking about. Sometimes if your gauge is off, rather than like switching your needle, sorry, we've got Norm here. Rather than switching your needle or your yarn to get the right gauge, sometimes what I will do is just knit a different size of the pattern that will result in the body circumference being what I want, given the gauge that I have that I like. So if it's a fabric that I like, I'll knit a different size, and it will give me the like ease that I want in the sweater. You have to be a little bit careful about that sometimes, because it's not just about like the body circumference. There are other proportions involved in the pattern that if you knit a different size may be a little bit wonky, but as long as you're pretty cognizant of that and you're reading both like the size that you're knitting and the size that would like result in the right, if you had gauged the right size for you given that as well, and kind of like thinking about that, combining that, okay, maybe I need to do this a little bit longer according to that, you know, it's kind of a puzzle and like can be a little bit difficult at times, but I am like always willing to do that because I care the most about using the yarn that I want to use and at the like needle size and fabric that I want, so I will adjust things if I need to. Anyway, all of that is to say that that was my plan with this pattern, but sometimes I run into a little bit of trouble because if the size range only includes like 1 or 2 sizes below my size and I want to knit it at like a larger gauge, there's not a lot of room below. So like, I don't know if this makes sense at all, but let's say if I got gauge, I was going to knit the second size of a pattern, but I didn't get gauge and I wanted to knit it at this like larger gauge. And so that would mean that I need to get a body circumference that's like quite a bit different from the size that I would be knitting. So then I might need to go down like normally 3 or 4 sizes, but there aren't 3 or 4 sizes below what sorry, I feel like I'm being really confusing, but all I'm trying to say is there wasn't a size that I could knit that would give me the body circumference that I want at this gauge. So my friends and I at Knit Night, like over a month ago, did some math to figure out how to adjust the pattern to basically write in another size. So we did like fewer raglan increases and cast on a different amount so that I would have like fewer stitches in the body and all of that. We basically just like did the math to adjust the pattern so that I could do it at this gauge. And then what happened is I left my job with the Mariners and my phone was provided by the Mariners. and I got a new phone because I was leaving. And I had written down all of the knitting math in the notes app of that phone. And I did not transfer my notes over when I got a new phone. And so all of that was gone. So I sat down and was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna do it again. Like, I'm gonna do the knitting math again. And I was like, Emily, you don't wanna do this. Just don't do it. So what I ended up doing is I did a brief swatch. I did not do the full swatch and I didn't block it. Instead of doing it, I used the same yarn, the sport weight yarn. Instead of doing it on a US 4 needle, I did it on a US 2.5. So the pattern calls for a US 2. I did it on a US 2.5. And that gave me a good gauge that was close enough to the pattern gauge that I could just go down one size. So normally I would have knit the second size. I'm now knitting the first size. And that's good enough. And I think it'll give me like the sizing and everything will be what I want. So I am actually knitting the Birch pullover. This is not an adjusted math pattern. This is the first size, but I am expecting it to be bigger than the first size calls for or whatever because my gauge is off. The yarn I'm using is Autumn and Indigo Classic Sport in the Lomah colorway. This is yarn I got a while ago. I'm not sure if she's still dyeing or I don't know exactly the situation, if this like yarn is still available or not. But I did get it a while ago. I think 2 years ago maybe, or a year and a half ago. I really do like this yellow mustard color. I have some other yarn that's a similar color to show you guys in a little bit. This is one of my favorite colors. Yellow is actually my favorite color, and it just feels like both bright and muted in a way that's just like really happy, but also calming and soothing to me. I don't know. I really like this yarn. And I'm in the middle of the Raglan increases. I finished doing the short rows. So this was a top down. I had to do for the first time a 2x2 tubular cast on. So I've done a 1x1 tubular cast on before, but the 2x2 is a little bit different. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that, but you do a 1x1 tubular cast on, and then after your setup rows, you kind of have to switch the order of the stitches so that you have 2 knits in a row, 2 purls, 2 knits, 2 purls, because the 1x1 tubular results in like knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. So you have to kind of switch your stitches around so that you have 2x2. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I honestly was so scared. I've done a 1x1 tubular before, but I was worried that I don't know, doing it on a straight needle or on a circular needle as well, like I just was nervous it wasn't going to go great, but it's actually fine. I did end up doing it like a couple times because I dropped one of my cast on stitches one time, or like I had the wrong number, something, whatever. But I mean, that happens. Anyway, I did cast on, do the 2x2 tubular, and then you just do 2x2 ribbing for a while, and then get into the half brioche. And I think it's beautiful. It's knitting up really nicely. It's honestly, considering the gauge, it's still knitting up pretty quick. I'm hoping I can finish the Raglan. Well, okay. I don't know. I think now that I'm going to be doing a lot more knitting, I've been thinking about setting more. You guys are going to think I'm crazy. I've been thinking about setting more smaller goals for myself. So like weekly goals, like what I want to accomplish each week with my knitting. And my goal for this one, I think, is to finish the Raglan increases and split for the sleeves by the end of this week. So hopefully I can finish that. I would like to finish this sweater by the end of the month and continue on my pace of 1 sweater per month. That's another thing. I have so many thoughts and so many ideas that I want to tell you all about, but yesterday I took some time to plan out some of my design stuff, but also to plan out, I want to knit a sweater roughly every month this year. So like knit 12 sweaters this year. And I'm close to on pace. I did knit 1 sweater in January, 1 in February, and then my March sweater, because I was in Arizona for work for 3 weeks, it bled a little bit into, that was the Cumulus blouse. That one bled a little bit and I didn't finish until early April, but I think I'm going to be able to catch back up. Although this one maybe isn't the best one to try to catch back up on because it is sport weight on a US 2.5 all over half brioche. And half brioche in the round means that every other row you're just purling. So that's not the best, not the best for speedy knitting, and also just like enjoyable, pleasant, don't think about it knitting. I mean, I honestly don't hate purling, like it's fine, but Anyway, okay, where even am I? I don't know what I've shared properly, what I haven't. The other thing about this one that I was going to tell you guys about is I only have one US 2.5 needle, and it's this one, and I think it's a 24-inch cable. And I don't know what it is. I'm like so unwilling to buy needles that are not interchangeables. Like, I hate buying fixed circulars. I have some sort of aversion to it, but I don't want to buy another one with a larger cable. So I may knit the entire raglan and just squish all my stitches up on this 24-inch cable. I will probably do that. Let's be honest. I'm probably going to do that. And it's probably going to be pretty unpleasant at the end of the raglan, like when I have like 300 stitches on a 24-inch cable. It's going to be unpleasant, but I'm going to do it probably anyway because I don't want to buy another needle. so that is, yeah, that's the situation. This is my Birch pullover by Andrea Mowry. I said that right? Yeah. Designer is Andrea Mowry. The yarn is Autumn and Indigo, and I'm knitting the smallest size on US 2.5 needles. Okay. What else do we have? Oh, I knit a swatch. That's another thing I can share with you. So in an effort to be like just really organized with my designs and stuff, I went through and kind of scheduled out, like, I mean, I have tons of ideas. I was so worried I wouldn't have any more ideas, and then I don't know, especially working at the yarn store now, I'm so inspired being around this beautiful yarn, and it's like, Jess does such an incredible job. Jess is the shop owner of the yarn store that I work at, Mercerie. She does an incredible job of just like curating selection so that you walk in and it's just like so beautiful and light and inspiring. And anyway, I'm just so inspired. I've worked there for 2 days now, and I'm already just like, oh my gosh, there's so many ideas, so many things I want to do. And I had some ideas before I started working there as well. But something I'm really excited about is using some new to me bases. So I knit mostly with wool, and La Mercerie, Jess carries some yarn that is a little bit different kind of fiber content, as well as just like really appropriate for summer knitting. And so I've always just been like, I'll wear wool in the summer. Like, that's fine. Like, if you remember, my first pattern is the Stripey Turtle Tank, which is a tank top design that I knit in wool. Wool is like magic, I think. And so I don't mind knitting with wool in the summer, and like wearing wool in the summer, because I think it like temperature regulates super well, and it's like not super horrible and warm and stuffy. But anyway, there's a new, it's not new to the shop, but a new to me yarn that I haven't knit with before, which is a wool and cotton blend. So this is the Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino. And it's 70% organic cotton and 30% merino wool. And I loved this color. Let me just show this to you. It is the soft aqua colorway. Let me see if it will focus all the way up. Maybe. It looks like it's gonna go, and then it doesn't. It's kind of focused. Maybe. There we go. But this is the soft aqua colorway, which I think is just really pretty. And I have an idea for kind of like another summery, like tank type pattern that I think would be really fun in this yarn. Oh, we're getting wiggles. Norma's doing some wiggling. Oh, hi. Oh, are you leaving us? Okay, bye. So I swatched that, and here's my swatch. It's a little tiny swatch. I love the way that it knit up. It feels really nice too. Like, I always think of cotton as being almost, I don't know how to describe it. I think almost like this word's gonna sound weird here, but like a squeaky fabric. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone else. Okay, sorry folks. It may have cut off in a weird place there. I don't know, I can't believe I haven't explained this before, but my camera will only record 30 minutes at a time, so that's why I often will have cuts like around the 30-minute mark in a video. And most of the time I keep an eye on it and I watch and I make sure that like I stop at a reasonable point. I know when I stopped and then I like start recording again, but I totally missed it this time and I just kept going and I was talking and I don't know exactly where it left off. I think it says the last frame I was holding the swatch up, so I don't know how much I actually talked about the swatch, but I'll hold it up again and just let you all know this is, again, the Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino, which is a cotton and merino wool blend. And this is a yarn that Jess carries in the shop that I work at, La Mercerie, and I saw this yarn. I was just like feeling really inspired by it. When I was there on Thursday, the weather was amazing and was just like really excited about trying out a new base to me. Like I knit mostly with wool, and so I was really excited to try something new, and this color is just beautiful and it feels so bright and springy as well. So I grabbed a skein or a ball and I cast on for a little swatch. You may notice this is not your traditional square swatch, and that may be a sneak peek at potentially a design element in the summer top that I've been thinking about. But yeah, my hope is that I can make some progress soon on a sample of a new summer spring top design. So stay tuned for that. Nothing, you know, super soon because I haven't knit the sample yet. I just watched it, but that will potentially be upcoming as well. Norman, you want to come back? Come here, bug. Come here. Okay. Oh my goodness. Why don't you come say hello? We can sit here and talk about yarn together. Nope. You want to sit next to me. You don't want me to hold you. Okay. That's fine. Okay, so that was a swatch that I knit this week. Also, some other plans that I have. So I talked a couple episodes ago about this Pendleton style woven blanket that I really want to do. And I got some yarn from Knit Picks, some non-superwash fingering weight yarn. Okay, sorry for all the cuts today. I'm doing my best. But yes, I want to weave this Pendleton style blanket. The main color is going to be this like creamy beigeish white. And then I got some like retro primary colors to do some stripes. So what I want to do is weave up a swatch of it. I don't know if this is a common thing in weaving, but especially since I'm definitely new to weaving, I want to weave up a swatch. And since I want the blanket to be felted, so that's why I got non-superwash yarn, the plan is to weave up several of these like strips, these panels, and then seam them together and then felt it to make this like large felted blanket. So I want to weave up a small square. That way I can also kind of see how the colors go together, which ones I like, because I wasn't set on the colors yet. Weave up a small square, and then I can also try felting it to see just like, do I like the way that the fabric feels when it's felted? Do any of the colors bleed? How much shrinkage is there? So like how big do I need to make the blanket and factor in the shrinkage so that it like the end result is the size that I want it to be. So all of those things I need to think about. So I think this first step is to weave up a very small square and try to felt it the way that I am planning to felt it, which I'm planning to just do in the washing machine. I don't know if that's right or not. If anyone has like thoughts or ideas on like how best to felt a large blanket, my plan was just to wash it with like a load of towels and then put it in the dryer. And hopefully it will felt. I think it will, but we'll see. So that's something for me to try. And I'm hoping to do that in the next week or so as well. But weaving has like a big upfront cost, if you know what I mean. Like I have to take the time to work the loom, and that takes like a lot of effort and energy. Once you get that done, the actual weaving is so fast. Like it goes by so quickly. But taking the time to set up the loom and like get everything and to do all of that for like a very small square is, I don't know, it's hard to get up the like energy to do that. So, but I'm going to try to do that this week. So that I have upcoming. The other thing is another design that I'm really excited about is this. I think I've talked about it a little bit on the podcast in the past, but I really am wanting to reverse engineer this sweater of my dad's that he had a whole bunch of these. I actually had my mom send me one. These like Land's End sweaters that are just knit out of this wool. It says it's actually recycled wool, and recycled wool, virgin wool, and nylon is this sweater. And I think I've told this story on the podcast in the past, but La Bien-Aimée has this new Cordale base called Corrie worsted. I think it actually has another type of wool in it as well, maybe Falkland. And so one of my good friends, Sylvan, she actually test knit a pattern for the release of this new yarn base using the Corrie worsted. And so after, you know, she had knit that and everything was released or whatever, I felt her sweater and I had this like really intense, almost like emotional nostalgic reaction, because when I touched that yarn, it felt to me like these sweaters felt like the sweaters that my dad wore, like when I was younger. And so I had this like nostalgia reaction. There's actually a photo, I think, of my sister and I like playing around wearing these like large wool sweaters of my dad's. I'll have to see if she can find the photo. But yeah, I had this, I don't know, it's not even like there's specific memories or anything. It's just like I remember my dad wearing these sweaters and I had this, like I touched this yarn and I had this feeling that I needed to knit my dad's sweater. Like I wanted to knit I wanted to recreate this sweater using that yarn. So my plan is to try to reverse engineer this sweater and write a design for it so that I can knit one for myself, and I'm definitely going to knit one for my dad as well. And yeah, I'm just really excited about it. So I had my mom ship me one of the sweaters so that I can look at it, and the construction seems a little bit different from sweaters that I've done in the past. It's not like a full drop shoulder. It's more, you can see there's like shaping here around the arm. I don't know if you can actually see that super well. The color may be tough, but you can see that there's like, it's not drop shoulder. It's more like a set-in sleeve, which will be something a little bit new to me. And then, yeah, with nice like ribbing, a folded collar and ribbing along the bottom. And it's a little bit of like an oversized fit. You can see the sleeves are pretty large. So, yeah, I actually got for Christmas from my grandma, I got a sweater quantity of Corrie worsted. Is this it? No, this one's it. This feels like playing with fire. I have two yarns that are really similar. These are actually different yarns out on my couch that I wound up. One of them is Monostel Uruguay, and they're, what is it? It's like Alpaca Heather, I think is the base, which I'm pretty sure is this one. And then this one is the Corrie worsted. And this is the French gray colorway. Beautiful. I love myself a beautiful light neutral. And so I have a sweater quantity of this, and I'm going to try to recreate this sweater. So that's going to be up next on my sweater needles after I finish the Birch. I think I'm going to take the time and the energy to try to reverse engineer this. So if you also would like to knit my dad's sweater, definitely stay tuned. This is probably something that I won't be like testing for or releasing until the fall at the earliest, but stay tuned. And that one is just like, it just feels really special to me. So if you would like a basic Land's End sweater, stay tuned because I am gonna try to deliver that. So that's some stuff that I have planned. Other things, I do have some acquisitions, just a couple. I'm going to try to be good about it and try to be reasonable, but I do work at a yarn store now, and I get a discount at that yarn store, and that is incredibly dangerous. It's bad. I know I'm going to buy way too much yarn. I need to try to be responsible. So I'm going to try to be responsible, but I do have some acquisitions from my first week at La Mercerie. Jess did get in a shipment of Woolberry, which is available in store now. So if you are in the Seattle area, the Poulsbo area, and want to stop by, you can go and grab the Woolberry now, but it will be available online a little bit later. I'm not sure exactly when yet, but pretty soon. So definitely stay tuned for that if you are a Woolberry fan, but I did grab a couple of skeins of Woolberry. These are the colors I got. Oh, so beautiful. I love her tonals. I think she just does really, Bethany of Woolberry Fiber Co. Does beautiful tonals. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at the screen and it's mirrored. I thought I was picking up this one, but I actually picked up this one. Sorry, that was just a weird moment. Actually happens to me all the time. Sorry, I'm getting really distracted. This is me again being like weird and chaotic, but all the time if I'm looking at myself in the screen, I think like, oh, my hair looks weird, like I need to fix it, and I'll go to fix one side and it will actually be this side that I like wanted to fix. So I don't know. I'm constantly like unhappy with how my hair looks and I'm touching it all the time. You guys have probably noticed that, and if you haven't, now you probably will, and I probably ruined that for you, so sorry. But anyway, I got these 3 skeins of Woolberry. This is all on her berry sock base, which is an 80/20 superwash merino. Oh no, it's actually not merino, it's BFL nylon. And yeah, 80/20 BFL nylon, berry sock is the base. This colorway is Marigold. This one is Peachy Keen, and this one is Moab. And they're a dream. I love them together. So beautiful. Like, what? How is this so beautiful? Like, I don't know how it's so beautiful. But I also, if y'all will remember, I got a couple of skeins of Woolberry earlier this year from an update she had. And, oh, there was one I actually had from a previous update as well. So I was looking at all my Woolberry together, and I love it. I love this color palette. Okay, sorry. I'm going to try to pick them all up at the same time. Ah! This is hard. So I have 6 skeins here, but here they all are. So this is my Woolberry palette. How beautiful is that? Like, what? Sorry, there. Like, how? They're just so beautiful together. So I already am thinking about what I want to knit, and I want to put a lot of them together, I think. So if you all remember a while ago, I was attempting to do a new design with these like really cool intarsia stripes in like a vest, and the colors, I was just using a mini set that had a couple colors that were too close to each other, and so when I did the stripes you couldn't really see the difference, and it wasn't working out perfectly. But I think this palette would work out really well for it. So I'm going to do either, this is the Mine colorway, and this is Peachy Keen. I'm going to do one of these two as the main color. And then stripes, I want to do probably these 4. Plus, I think I'm going to include this blue. The blue from, I'll have leftovers from Argyle Socks. So I want to include the blue from, the blue from Explorer Knits. And I think this palette is just going to be really good. So with probably mine as the main color. I just think it'll be really fun, and it just feels very much like my color palette. So that is my only yarn acquisition. I also got from the shop, Jess had these t-shirts made, which I think are just beautiful. I don't know if you can see the design super well. It's like a hand holding knitting needles with like floral around it, and it's beautiful. And Jess actually has a tattoo of this design on her arm, and then she had t-shirts made for the opening, and so I got one of the t-shirts. I'm just really imagining this like t-shirt tucked into jeans with like a belt and then a cardigan on top. I think it's just very much you know, the look that I want. So I got the shirt and I got a couple skeins of yarn, and hopefully next week I don't buy any yarn. That'd be good, right? Don't buy any yarn next week. So those are my acquisitions. Ooh. Oh, I had another plan I wanted to share with you. I pulled this yarn out. So I've actually talked about this, I think, on the podcast previously, but I haven't shown you all the yarn all together. So I had this idea. I actually knit. So, okay, step back. I need to slow down. So I got yarn. I got Grenouille's Advent in both 2020 and 2021. You guys know I knit with Grenouille all the time. My favorite dyer by far. But I got her Advent in 2020 and in 2021. Her 2020 Advent, I've used a lot of it. I knit, longtime viewers will remember, I knit the Luminaria shawl with, I think I used maybe 10 or 12 of the mini skeins from the Advent in that shawl. But I used a lot of the darker colors, so like darker blues, greens, and like orangey colors from the Advent for that shawl. And that left me with a lot of the lighter, more pastel-y colors. And so I had this idea in mind that I wanted to make this like really bright, springy sweater that uses like a pastel pink as the main color, and then do stripes similar to the Stripey turtle tank with like one main color and then switch to other contrast color stripes throughout, using those pastel minis from the Advent, and then also hold it with a strand of light pink Suri alpaca to make this just like fuzzy, dreamy, pastel-y, stripey sweater. And so I pulled all the yarn out. I was trying to decide what to cast on next. Actually, after I found out that I lost my knitting mat for the Birch, I thought maybe I would cast this one on instead. And honestly, on some level, I kind of wish I had, because it feels very like spring Easter to me. But I didn't. I ended up going with the Birch. But I have the yarn pulled because I was thinking about winding it up and casting on. And so I wanted to show that to you. So this is the main color, is Pink Moonstone from Grenouille. And then here are all of the minis that I pulled to stripe with it. So these are, I could go through and tell you all the colorways. I don't know if she carries all of these all the time. This one is Cinder. This is Bitter Moon. I know she carries this one, I think, more often. This one is Moonrise. I think she also carries this one. I have a full skein of it. This one is Gorgon. This is Wormwood. I have a whole sweater out of this color. I love it. And then this one is Old Books. I love this color. I need to give you like a little bit of a zoom in on this one because it's so pretty. Like, what? It's this beautiful pink with like yellow, green, brown, blue little specks. It's so pretty. So I have that. And I'm going to stripe these colors with the main color. And then I also bought some Suri from Stress Knits. This is her Palm Lines colorway. And I'm going to hold this together with all of it. So just that it all kind of blends a little bit better and makes just like this really beautiful, dreamy fabric, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, I want to cast this on like right now because it feels like spring. It feels like Easter, but I am doing the Birch first. And then I also really want to get started on my dad's sweater as well. So this one may not happen until June, which would still be fun to do in kind of spring, summer. I don't know. Should I just cast this on now? If I'm feeling really like inspired by it, maybe I should just cast it on now and I can finish the Birch later. I've always been the kind of person that's like only one sweater on the needles at a time, but maybe, I don't know. This would be a fun one to be knitting like right now, this time of year, like as the seasons change and like over Easter. I feel like it would be really fun. I might do it. Wow, this was not something I was planning to decide right now, but live look at my decision-making process. But I may actually, after I finish recording this, I may wind up the yarn and cast that on like right now. I'm not sure exactly what pattern. I was thinking I pulled the Ready Set Raglan book, which I have knit the Woodwardia from, which is a beautiful raglan with like the fern details. It's actually the one I knit out of this color. But I'm going to do just like one of the basic raglans in here. And I think it'll be beautiful. So yeah, all right, well, that's a plan for today. Something that I was not planning to do, but probably will now. Okay, that's plans, that's acquisitions, that's everything. What else do I have to talk about? I was just going to give you all an update on like life stuff, how like working at the store has been, what we've been up to, how things, baseball's back. So that is something to talk about as well. So yeah, let's get into it. Last Monday was the last time I recorded. My grandparents had just left. They visited last weekend. And then I had a couple of days before my first day at work at La Mercerie on Thursday. And those days I was mostly just kind of like taking care. I had been out of town for 3 weeks, and then I came back, and pretty quickly after that I had my last day at work, and then my grandparents visited, and so it felt like there was a lot going on at that time. So I needed those couple days to kind of both recharge and also just like take care of things like in our home. I was like behind on laundry. I was behind on just like general kind of taking care of chores, and like had to go to the grocery store, all that kind of stuff. So took care of a lot of that on the first couple days of last week. And then on Thursday, I had my first day at La Mercerie. My commute involves 2 buses and a ferry to get there. So I could drive. I could drive either onto the ferry, or I could drive actually around and like not take the ferry. But I decided that I would rather take public transportation the whole way, just because then I can knit, I can read, I can do, you know, whatever I want to the whole way, and I don't have to be driving. Also in the summer, sometimes it can be tough to get a spot on the ferry with a car because there's like limited capacity, and you might have to wait an extra ferry. And I really didn't want to do that, because if I have to wait an extra ferry, then I'm like an hour late for work. So I'd much rather be just a walk-on passenger, and then I can ensure that I get a spot on the ferry. So I take a bus from my house to the ferry, and then I take the ferry, and then I take a bus from the ferry to the shop. So it's 3 steps, and if everything goes perfectly smoothly, the whole commute takes around an hour and a half. I can tell you I've done the commute, I guess, 2 days, so, you know, 4 times, because I go to and from work each time. And not one time has everything happened perfectly smoothly and on time. So being completely at the mercy of bus and ferry timings is a little bit stressful. And I will say, like, the actual commute itself, the being on the bus and being on the ferry, has been, you know, about as I expected. I don't hate that part at all. Like, I actually really enjoy the time, especially on the ferry. The time on the ferry in the morning is lovely. The part that has been worse than I expected is just like the stress from, oh my gosh, if this ferry's a little bit late, then I'll miss my next bus, and then I like won't be able to get to the store, or like, you know, those things are stressful. So that part has been a little bit tough, but even when things have been late or, you know, whatever, it's worked out every day. Sorry about that, another cut. What I was saying was about the ferry. Yeah, so while it has been a little bit tough and things have been late a little bit, I haven't ever had a time where I just like didn't make it to work or like missed a bus or anything. So I know I've only done it 2 days, but at least that's a good sign. On Thursdays, I do take the bus on the Seattle side, but on Saturdays, actually, my husband in office, he like dropped me off and picked me up, and we went to dinner afterward, because the bus timing doesn't work out as well. The bus runs less frequently on the Seattle side on Saturday. So, so that was really nice of him, and I don't have to deal with one of the steps of the process on Saturdays. So yeah, he came and got me, and we went on Saturday night and got pho. at this new place. We actually thought it was the same as another place we've been to, just like another location, but it was a different place altogether, same name. And it was so good. We got pho, and we also got French fries and lemongrass sauce, and we got egg rolls, and it was just really, really tasty. And exactly, Saturday was like colder and rainier, so that was definitely, I was wanting something like nice and warm and soupy to warm me up. And then let's see, the other things I was going to talk about Friday. So so I work at the store on Thursdays and Saturdays, and that means that my weekend days now, or like my, days off that I'm not working, I'm doing Friday and Sunday as my weekend days now. So Nafis actually also was able, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Nafis was actually also able to switch his days. So he works on Saturdays now instead of Fridays. And so we take our weekends on Fridays and Sundays together now. So this is our first week of doing that, and that was definitely an adjustment. It was new to us, but we did go on a hike on Friday, which is really cool because I think in general doing things on Friday is going to be really good because other people will be working. So it may be like less crowded, or we may have better options for things on Fridays because that's not a weekend for most other people. So we went on a hike. We went to Twin Falls, which is in the North Bend area in Washington. And for the most part, the weather was pretty good, but randomly, several times on our hike, it just started hailing. Like, so weird. It was like sunny one second, and the next second it was hailing. And for the most part, the hail was pretty small, so it wasn't a huge concern, but we had Norman with us as well. And at the end, the hail was really big, and we were nervous about him and like that he would be okay. It would like hit him in the head, or like even his, like if the hail hit him in the eye, that could be really bad. And so we wanted to make sure that he didn't get hit. And so we would stop and like kind of stand over him and cover him so that the hail wouldn't hit him. And then after a while, it kind of stopped, but we were nervous it was going to start back up again. So I took my jacket off and I wrapped him in my jacket, and I picked him up and put the hood over his little head and then carried him the rest of the hike because we were just like worried about the little guy getting hit by the hail. But he was like unconcerned. It did not bother him at all. He was just like, okay, like, I'm hiking now. Like, there's things hitting me, I don't care. But we were worried if he was unconcerned that he would like look up and it would like hit him in the eye or something. So anyway, that was our hiking experience. Otherwise, the falls, it was beautiful. It was, yeah, the sun kind of opened up a little bit when we got to the top and had a really beautiful view of the falls. So that was really nice. And it was good too. It was a pattern release day, and like, I'd had my first day of work, and Nafis and I were adjusting to like our new schedule and everything, and so it was really nice to take some time to just like unplug a little bit and just be outside and be together and everything. So that was really good that we did on Friday. Other things, food things. So we cooked a new rice bowl dish. We have made rice bowls in the past, more of your kind of like Mexican style rice bowls. So with like chicken and beans and corn and salsa. We often put like spinach in ours, or Nafis puts cottage cheese in his as well. I don't like cottage cheese, but like avocado, that kind of stuff. Salsa is our standard kind of just like basic, easy like rice bowl dinner. But I had found a recipe online to do a Vietnamese rice bowl, and I love Vietnamese food. I was actually talking to an office about this. I think like in general we eat a lot of Asian food, and I love Asian food, but I think Vietnamese food specifically is my favorite. Just really like pho, Vietnamese noodles, Vietnamese rice bowl. It's just like all so good. But we found a recipe to make like Vietnamese chicken, and I also pickled some onions and carrots. We made like the little sauce it's mostly like fish sauce, but also has like some lime and other stuff in it. We had like edamame in there, and it was just really good. Oh, we had egg on there as well. Nafis did some like fried eggs for us, and it was so good. Seriously, so good. I'll drop the recipe down in the description in case you guys are interested in trying it out, but really good. We did it, I guess, a little bit different from the recipe because we added, I think the pickled onions we added, and then also the edamame we added, and we didn't do some of the other stuff that was in there, but really, really good. So we had that for dinner. For Sunday breakfast this week, we just made like a basic egg sandwich. We had some buns left over, so toasted up some buns, Nafis made some eggs, and we just had egg sandwiches, which was really good. And then last night we actually had some friends come over to celebrate the beginning of baseball season. I always like to, at the beginning and the end of each season, for some reason I got in this habit the last couple of years of making an apple pie. Apple pie just feels very like quintessentially baseball, like, you know, American pastime. And my mom has this really, really good apple cream pie recipe that I love, and so I'm always looking for an excuse to make the pie. And so I made apple cream pie, and then we also did like sausages, like hot dogs. I made homemade sourdough buns for the hot dogs, and we also got some french fries, and Nafis made gravy, and we had cheese curds and poutine as well. So it was really fun, really tasty, and then we played some games. We actually played a new board game that I hadn't played before. I feel like we haven't played board games with friends very much, I guess COVID, but that used to be something we did a lot of, and I really miss it. So I want to get back into playing a lot more games with friends. But it was a new game called Cultivate. And the basic, I mean, I won't go through the whole gameplay, but the basic premise is that like each person is like a cult leader, and they're looking to like, like, what is the word? Just like acquire people into their cults. Like they want to entice people to come and be a part of their cult. And so like there's, you know, the gameplay actually doesn't involve like cult things very much. It's just like you draw different cards and you can acquire different people and like put them into your cult or whatever. But it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. It was a fun game. So we played that with friends last night, and then let's see. Sorry, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Whew, excuse me. Yeah, and then also got to spend some time yesterday watching baseball. We have been, if you are unfamiliar, I grew up a huge St. Louis Cardinals fan, and then I was, of course, working with the Mariners. We live in Seattle, so huge Mariners fan as well. And then my husband is also a Miami Marlins fan, so those are the three teams that we were kind of like aware of watching during the baseball season. And so the season started last Thursday, so we've had a couple games now, and unfortunately I was like working during the games on Thursday and Saturday, but was able to on Sunday. Yesterday we got to sit down and watch some baseball, so that was really fun. But I was also really tired. Was it Saturday? No, it was Sunday. Yeah, we were watching games, and I like just took a nap on the couch. No, I was just sitting here like watching baseball, and I like Norm here, I just like lied down, put my head on his lap, and just like, I don't even know how long. I was tired. And so I just took a little bit of a baseball nap. Actually, what day was that? That may have been Friday. The days are running together. It's hard to get in this new routine of like different weekend days and everything. So, but that's basically what we've been up to. I guess I'll just tell you quickly, like, I love working at the store. La Mercerie, Jess, and I also have, there's another woman who works there, Blair, are just the kindest people. I've had the most fun. My job now is to spend time with yarn, talk to people about yarn and knitting. Like, it's so much fun. Oh, are you having a dream? Sorry, he was wiggling in his sleep a little bit. Yeah, it's so much fun. It's really fun. The setting is beautiful. The yarn store is beautiful. Just being there makes me happy. And I've only worked there 2 days and already have learned so much. I feel so supported by Jess. I talked to you about this in the last episode. Like, already I hadn't even started yet, and I already felt so like cared for and supported by her, and like encouraged. And so I can tell how much she wants me to have such a good experience with this, and it's just an incredible atmosphere to work in, to feel that kind of just, I don't know, just like energy and support, and yeah, a big thing for me in this time is, especially as I kind of am expanding with my designing, and I'm very new to this whole world. I'm not new to knitting, but I'm new to like knitting being my job or my life, or, you know, all of that. And I know nothing about business, and I know nothing about like marketing and photography, like all things that are very new to me. And just like already I feel like I've learned so much in the 2 days that I've been there. And so that's the biggest thing for me, is like, as long as I feel like I'm happy and I'm growing, then I'm set. I mean, that's all I want. That's all I need. So I definitely have felt that so far, and I just can't wait to continue. I left Thursday and was like, can it be out Saturday already? Like, I just can't wait to go back. I just want to go back to the store. And yeah, and now I have to wait until Thursday again to go back, but I can't wait to go back. I'm already having such a great time there. And yeah, if you live in the area, you should definitely come check it out. I'm there on Thursdays and Saturdays if you want to come say hi. It's in Paulsbo, Washington. And if you're in Seattle, just a short ferry ride away. And yeah, La Mercerie. I'll, of course, include the information below in the description box. And I think that's pretty much all I had to talk about. I've got stuff to do today. I need to, of course, edit the podcast, and then I wanted to take photos of all my yarn, and now I want to cast this on as well. So I need to wind up my yarn and cast on this sweater, and update all of my Ravelry and my spreadsheets. That was all on my list to do today as well. Maybe, you know, watch some baseball and do some knitting. And oh, I guess that wasn't even intentional. I was doing my little outro there and I didn't even realize it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I will hopefully talk to you again next Monday. So in the meantime, oh, he's snoring. I don't know if you can hear. Oh, baby. Okay. So goodbye from Norman, and I hope you do lots of knitting and watch lots of baseball. It's back. Baseball's back. And have a great week. Bye.